As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with Crystal and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. For those of you who are just tuning in, folks, my co-host Crystal, she will be logging in a second to talk to you guys about many programs she's going over. But in the meantime and in between time, I want to say welcome to the Business Zone, guys. It's been a while. I haven't seen you guys in a while. For some reason, I felt like I haven't seen or talked to you guys in about a month. But today we're going to have a great show. We're going to have an amazing guest on the show. Her name is Andrea Navarrete, and she runs a business which deals with outreach and also helping small businesses to become business ready, contract ready, and loan ready. And she has been assisting me. She's one of my new partners in the Buchanan and Associates group. So she's going to be helping me reaching out a lot more to the Latino entrepreneurs so that we can create a great impact with them and helping them to achieve contract readiness, business readiness, and loan readiness. And guess what, folks? Guess who just walked through the door? My co-host. How are you doing, co-host?
I'm fine. I told you I was on my way. Just give me seconds to get here. But my kids just finished their competition, and so here I am for the second half of my day.
Oh man, I tell you, man, I know how that is, co-host. That you work very hard with these young entrepreneurs. You want to tell them a little bit about what the BizCamp program is, because for those who are just tuning in with us, may not have heard the previous shows and how well you've taken care of those young entrepreneurs. So tell them a little bit about the
Well, every year I myself and my business partner. Actually, it was her inspiration. She started the community. I mean, the business zone. I'm sorry. She started the Biz Camp 17 years ago, and she asked me to come help out, and I never tell her no. So I came in to help out, and here was a every year we recruit our goal is to reach 65 kids a summer, and we teach them how to become entrepreneurs. And so we're pretty excited that we've been able to continue to carry this on. We do two cohorts a summer, 3 weeks in June and 3 weeks in July. So I just finished 3 weeks in June, and we had the graduation and culmination today. So we had some brand new, I think there's 40 new entrepreneurs that are, or at least with the idea to be entrepreneurs, been birthed in this world. And I'm truly excited for them. It was great. They learned a lot, and they enjoyed themselves. And so, and they can never is a competition. So there's always going to be some, I don't call them losers. I just call them individuals that just didn't win this time.
Right. That's what we do. We keep encouraging the young entrepreneurs. So you will never call them losers.
No, they just didn't. But some great business ideas. Some that, one of the things, my big peeve is for businesses to think so small and not realize that in this day and age, we have to build bigger, better, scalable businesses. And so some of them rose to the occasion. And some of them, was a little bit slower to get there. But I assume by the time they come back to us in the fall, they will be thinking bigger and broader. But here's what I'm very proud of this particular cohort.
Mhm.
We had, for the very first time, our third place winner was a young man that has autism. And
Really?
yes, and he was able to come through the whole program. His mother told me, and he has to have someone with him all the time. So he has an assistant with him, and I think they call them student assistants, and he had them with him in through school. But this go round for 3 weeks, his mother had to come every day with him, and that
Wow.
says a lot for a parent, right? That
Yeah.
they want their child to see life differently and to see it and to be able to experience things that they would normally have an opportunity to experience. So she was there. So today, and his business is called a peer social camp. So kids that have autism actually will go there for a week and learn the social skills, how to interact with each other. Because as he said in his business plan, children who are autistic, because not having social skills as a deficit, it really creates a problem with their self-worth.
Yeah.
And so he walked out of there just so happy. And so I was thrilled about that. His mother told me this is the very first summer. This has been already the best summer he has ever had in his life,
That
and
is
he's
great,
15
man.
years old.
And you know what's amazing about that co-host? He has the awareness, the
Yeah,
awareness to speak about it so intelligently. I love that. I
yeah.
just love
He put together his little presentation, and he was very clear about what he wanted to say. Him and his mom was having some problems there when she was trying to change some of his words. He
Oh
was not
man,
having it.
she should know by now that people with autism, you don't change things around them. They don't like changes. You
They
know,
don't like changes
they
at
don't like
all.
changes, man. So if you want them to go crazy, man, just change something. Change the door lock or the mat or the way they sit or something. Oh man, yeah. I'm
Yeah, he
sure she
wasn't
knows by
feeling the change,
now.
but so he won the competition to third place,
Oh,
and
that's
then
great.
in Biz Camp, and then in Biz Institute, we also had another young man. He won first place, and he also has autism.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Yeah,
great, man.
yeah.
Evolving, man. I'm so proud of you, co-host.
Well, this one was a little, special. I really haven't. Most of our kids, they may have some behavioral problems, but not developmental problems. So I am
Right.
very happy. And sometimes as a teacher, you never, you want to make sure everyone is treated properly. And
Yeah.
so I was really proud, and he responded. And you want to, I'm not trying to teach anything that I try to teach this course so kids will rise to their greatness, and
Right.
so he rose to his greatness. So I'm very happy
That's
for that.
amazing,
So
man. I'm so
this was
proud.
awesome.
I,
Yeah,
I can't wait for us to have him on as a guest here on the Business Zone so he
yeah.
can tell us about his journey and his accomplishments because he's going to be very thorough, very structured. You know, he's going to go from one, two, three, all the way, right?
Right, exactly.
I
So that
love
was
it.
cool. So we just got done, and I ran back so I could get to the show and share my last 3 weeks experience. So I have a week break, which I have tons of clients squishing into that week, and so it's not really a break.
Well, at least you're not double booking, right?
I'm not double booking. I can,
Okay.
one of the things I have learned that in order for me to do what I do, and everyone knows that I have a pretty extensive, I run several businesses, a nonprofit, my personal business, and the kid youth program, and the tennis program, the nonprofit, my recycling back dollars. In order to do that, I have to be scheduled to the hilt.
Yeah. Can't
Everything,
miss a
long
beat,
as
man.
no, as long as everything is on the calendar, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
And then I've had to learn over the years to
Yeah.
start saying no.
Oh,
I
yes. Oh,
I
yes.
actually just canceled a contract so that I can have free up time that I could actually start working out. So I'm that was big.
I have skipped out on so many contracts, man. Some people say, "Are you crazy? Why are you doing that? Contracts are so hard to come by." But you have to do it sometimes, you know. When I was the director of uh, the entrepreneurship center there at the Urban League, I had to give up two contracts. I gave up one with Edison and one with Metro. You see, that
Mm.
was difficult for me to do, but I had to do it because the job requires me to do certain things. And the thing about me is when I'm committed, when I give my commitment to something or someone, I'm committed. There's no excuses why I can't do something. I'm going to do it because I committed to it. If it means I got to work late, overtime, or whatever to make it happen, I will do it. So I gave up those two contracts. You know, I kind of regretted them later on because of some things that happened. But you know, my word is my word. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's how I operate. So I get you. I understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying.
And then you just have to take time out for self, right? It's so
Yes.
important to be able to take time out for self. So that was one of the things I did. And I knew my summer programs were coming, and that is very important to me, making sure that I help the next, reaching down to bring the next people in,
Yeah.
to elevate them to reach up. So
I
that's
get
what
you,
I
man.
do.
Well, co-host, I am so happy that you're running that program. And like I said to you before, you know, I'm looking into us launching some programs in the Inland Empire regarding what you do with the kids. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that biz camp. Even if it's not biz camp that you're gonna do, something in that flavor, in that
Right.
space. You know,
Okay.
because I mean, you've got the talent, you've got the skill. You took these kids to championship events and they won. You know, you got first, second, and third prizes. So we know you know how to do this thing. So yeah.
Yep. And there was a business today, a young lady that's doing, she wants to do an international cafe with international bakery goods from all of the different countries so that you understand each other. So we would learn to understand each other's culture.
Hmm.
And she did that so well. I told her, I said, I think I want to invest in your business.
Wow, that
So
sounds so good.
yeah, so and she was very committed to the business and really knew it. And I mean, she just blew everyone away. So
Oh, that's great. That's
so
great.
now we have another young lady that's in the waiting room there. How was your week before we bring on our guests?
Oh, my week was wonderful. I spent a little bit of time with that lady in the waiting room that you're talking about. You know,
Okay.
we had some meetings with some potential business partners that we were trying to bring into our circle to do some business with us. The meetings were pretty fruitful. So we're hoping, you know, as we, you know, in Spanish, they said adelante, you know, as we move
Ah,
forward,
okay,
as
okay.
we move forward, you know, hopefully we'll be able to um, secure or forge agreements that can take us farther. Because, as you know, man, my passion is with entrepreneurs. Even though they treat me bad sometimes, you know, they don't call me back, they don't do their homework assignments, you know, none of those things. But I still love them. So
Yeah, you
I
just
have,
gotta.
yeah, you know. I have a plan to really help these guys. And, you know, I'm looking forward to get like $1 million contract. You know, I'll take 30% of that and give grants to small businesses and
Ah,
just
that'd
to
be
help
great.
them. Yeah, that's my plan, man, because I don't like how many of the economic development agencies treat small businesses. You know, they claim that, hey, we're here to help you, but when the small businesses go to them for help, they don't really help them. They don't return their calls. They, you know, give them a hard time. So I just want to hold their hands and guide them. But you know, I give them tough love. So, you know, I'll be holding their hands. I'll be guiding them. And then if they misbehave, you know, I'll be kissing them on the head and slapping them in the head back. You
Yeah, sometimes we were saying that earlier today. We had, I think, probably close to 15 judges that were supposed to come today, and they are
Yeah,
all in business worlds.
yeah,
And we look up, and Miss Rhonda says, we had 5 rooms set up for all these judges to come in, right? And
yeah.
she says, She says, we got 2 judges in each room. I went, what? And we got 40, we got what? We got 24 kids to get through.
That is
And
crazy.
so they had committed some time ago. Some of them were bankers that are sponsors. And it's like, they blew us off.
Oh man.
We had confirmed them. Nobody showed up. So we had to adapt. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, what happens to people who make commitments in business but don't follow up?
Right.
When did this new phenomenon take place?
Yeah. We can't have that. We can't have that
Right,
at all.
exactly. So anyway,
So our topic today, right, is going to be how leaders shape our nation, our communities, and our organization, and that's kind of what our guest is going to be talking about her leadership role, the different types of organizations she's been a part of, the different communities, and part of what I believe is such an asset to what we do is that she represents the Latino. I mean, I'm kind of representing the Latino community right now, but I'm a quasi represent ambassador. She's a real ambassador. She's a real Latina. So she what she brings to the table is really valuable to our mission, our vision, what we're trying to do for small businesses. So it's just a joy to have her. So tell me about your weekend, Coach, before we bring her in.
I'm going to. Wow, I thought I was going to rest this weekend, but I guess I'm not. I've been invited as a guest to, and I couldn't. It was coming from Cynthia Mitchell Hurd, so I couldn't turn it down, even though I'm very, very tired. I'm going to the Legacy ladies are having their passing the torch dinner tonight.
Oh, that's
tomorrow.
A great event.
Yeah, so I'll be going tomorrow. So I got to dress up in formal wear.
So you got to wear white. Is that it? You got to wear
white? Not white. This one is actually, it didn't ask for white, but it did ask for formal wear.
So you're going to have to go out and buy that suit.
Well, actually, I have something. I have something already. I just got to go find some shoes that don't hurt my feet.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I kind of feel for you women, man. When it comes to events, you guys got to go buy outfit every time. You got to buy shoes. And man. See, with dudes, we have all kind of suits set up in our closet. We got our shoes and all of that. And then
put a tie on or what? Yeah. You can put on a tie, a white shirt, and a black suit, and y'all can get to going. We got to go find. Okay, I wore that at the last 2 events. Can't wear that again. So now I got to go. But all of a sudden my calendar started filling up with those kind of events. So a year or so ago, I went and bought 4 or 5 different outfits just for that. And so I have a little collection now. So, and I haven't worn half of them because when I decide to go to somewhere, I have to decide what kind of shoes I'm wearing. So if my feet are hurting, then sometimes I don't even go at all.
I hear you, man.
Because I got to wear heels. But we got to put makeup on. We got to do a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a lot harder for her. So I don't go to to be quite honest, I don't know how these community people go. These people have been going to an event like 2-3 times a week. I see them on Facebook. I'm like, they're like, Krista, why weren't you there? I can't come to those many things that many times a week. I got to make money. And I can't make money sitting up in a room eating a rubber chicken.
I hear you, man.
That's that. And then Sunday, I'm going to kind of take it easy. I'm working my garden.
Yeah.
Go get my pampering, my medi-pedi. That's it. And then I have next week off. And then June 8th, we're back at it. I've been up every day for the last 4 weeks actually, at 5:30 in the morning and working from being at the school by 7:30, 8 o'clock and being there to 2:30, 3 o'clock. So it's been a commitment. Yeah. But let's bring our guests on. Enough about me. Yeah. I want to hear something about somebody else doing something else besides what I'm doing.
I hear you.
Okay, so you're going to do the intro because she's been working with her and...
Yes, I might mess up the intro, a lot because I didn't have her bio with me. But I'm going to go ahead and say I want to welcome to our platform today an amazing lady that I've met, and I've met her a couple of times. You know, when you meet people and then you meet them again, and say, I know I meet this person before. So I met her so many times, man, but she's just a ray of sunlight, and she's just amazing. And she brings this positive energy. When you see her, you just want to do business with her. So when we start talking about what she does and what I do, we saw some symmetry there, and we said, wow, this is amazing. So she told me a lot more about what she's doing, which kind of warms my heart, because very rarely do we find people that goes out in the community and serve the small business community that you and I do co-host. But she's been there doing those things, forming programs, doing outreach, meeting with the construction firms to help them to better educate and bring awareness to the construction contractors. So I like that. So she's been doing this for quite a few years. She's done many programs. She's done programs with Caltrans. She's done program with the LIST program. And, we're trying to tap into some other resources now, which we don't want to talk too much about on the air, because you know how it is when good people are planning, the bad people are always in the background trying to disrupt it. So we don't want to say too much about it until we sign and everything is done. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you for the first time on the Business Zone, none other than Miss Andrea Navarrete.
Hello, nice to meet you. Great
Oh,
build
hello.
up.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Crystal. I think I got to know you a little more after hearing everything that you do. Wow.
Oh,
And
thank you. Yeah,
and I also and I
yeah.
also want yeah, and I also want to thank Gilbert because you know I know it looks like I didn't submit my bio, but I knew you were gonna do a better bio than whatever I came up with.
And he did.
I love it.
Awesome,
Thank you,
awesome.
thank
And
you.
it's always in this day and
My head is
age, women. Yeah, in this day and age, women doing amazing things in spaces that notoriously are set aside for men is pretty awesome. And right now, women doing and uplifting other women is incredible. We need that support right now. We're living
I
in some
com-
interesting times.
I agree, Crystal, and as I was listening, I think I mentioned it to Gilbert as well. It's impressive whenever I talk to women entrepreneurs and to business owners, especially in the construction industry, and how precise they are and how well they do their homework. It's incredible. So the scaling and the vision, I've noticed that they're hands on. They don't procrastinate. It's incredible how there's a lot of women entrepreneurs that are creating and building up and making this area available, more and more available to a lot of women. So it's nice to see.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And women, we are that detailed individual. First of all, we're that detailed individual because we're running households, right? And so if you're gonna take care of yourself and your children, and sometimes your parents, you gotta be organized to do that. So women are perfect for business because we are already doing it on a regular basis. And so yeah,
We have a lot of practice in that. Years and
we do
years.
years and years and years. So tell me about what you do, and tell the world, not me, tell everybody, our listeners, exactly what it is you're doing and what inspires you to get into this space.
Okay, well, I represent a company called MINOREA. MINOREA, its roots became out of the intention of trying to help small businesses through technology. And
Oh,
and it evolved because originally when I went on my own here in LA, I ended up looking into and getting certified through CRMs. So I saw
okay.
the power of technology, and I wanted to sort of bring it to the small businesses. And as you start your business, you start realizing and what works and what doesn't. And CRMs for small businesses definitely doesn't work in a lot of cases because it's changing habits, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I would try to help a lot of the Latino communities. It's not only just the habits, but it's also a cultural change. So
mhm,
there was a lot of challenges when it came to identify how I could help small businesses. And being that I had a background of working with a woman, actually a woman-owned contractor, I was able to get a significant amount of knowledge of where the need was when it came to contracting and under the
mhm,
construction industry. So,
mm,
so as I was trying to keep them in mind and at the same time how I would be able to import value, I thought of outreach, right? Because I mean, I tend my nature is talking. I think that's a skill, but sometimes it's a double-edged sword, right? You talk too much,
right.
but I guess if someone already saw me with the potential of being in business development before I didn't even know what business development was, I think it was because of all the storytelling that I did when I was trying to get the job, right? And I started learning all the hurts or the needs that a lot of small businesses had. I know I'm bilingual. I know the culture, the Hispanic culture. So I decided that I wanted to help on offering outreach services since I already was building a lot of relationships when it came to contracting opportunities. So I started connecting with a lot of those relationships and started evolving into, okay, we have these really good decision makers that are trying to fulfill supplier diversity goals or diversity, equity, and inclusion. But here's the situation. It's hard to get small businesses to build capacity to that level. So
Mhm,
you don't
mhm,
feel that very, you don't feel that confident in making sure that you can refer them, right? Because that's your reputation as well. Like they're now no longer going to listen to you. So we went back to the drawing board and we started saying, well, it's going to have to be more than outreach that we have to do. And we decided to do test cases. That was precisely when the pandemic came in, so it was like perfect.
ah,
Supplier
mhm,
diversity, supplier diversity, and diversity, equity, and inclusion was like one of the first ones that went out the door, right? Because now we're in a survival mode type of thing.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
So that was the perfect time to go back to the drawing board and we did a few test cases. We got a handful of contractors to see if we could help, and then we already through another initiative and trying to identify programs. The COVID programs that were out there. As
Mhm,
I was trying to get informed, one of the key points that they had was um, that African American and Hispanic communities or businesses are the groups that least took advantage of those programs. So
mhm.
so I started sharing that. I started sharing that and through Facebook, and I have quite a bit of business friends that only speak Spanish. So as I was telling them, they ended up get wanting me to help them through the process
Mhm,
and evolved into a potential service um, because these small businesses, Hispanic businesses, one of the things that they do is talk, right? Talk within their communities because sometimes it's hard to communicate in a country that sometimes they're not really. they don't really know the language and they don't know who to deal with. So before you knew it, we had it was also mostly like a male dominant, a blue collar industry, male dominant industry, that I was getting word of mouth. So now we were not only we were working with contractors, now we were working with Hispanic businesses that were mechanical shops, or they were tire shops, they were body shops. All of those industries were very attentive into those programs. So now we had two areas, right? We had something that wasn't in construction, and the other one where we saw the need of the Hispanic businesses to get proper education and awareness. So I mean, been a journey. So we found out, and as we were doing our on ones with matchmaking sessions and things like that, as we were explaining what we did, what we wanted to do, with immediately the question is, are you a nonprofit? Because you usually get that response whenever you're wanting to help, right? Part of the pitch is to wanting
Mm-hmm.
to help and assist. And we would always say, well, we're a for-profit company with a nonprofit spirit.
Ah,
That
I
was
like
our
that.
pitch, right? Yeah, yeah. And before you know it, the other thing, we when as we were evolving and we were doing test cases, only we noticed that the only a handful we would be able our team would only be able to take care of the a handful, like really take care of them, help them through building capacity and then getting them to contracting opportunities. So we ended up just getting going back to the drawing board because we wanted to do something bigger. We wanted to
Mm.
have we wanted to touch and make a difference in a bigger scale, not only a handful by handful. So outreach, we were on a good course on outreach. We were already gaining experience in event coordination and doing email marketing. We were getting plenty of experience and awareness on that. So we ended up wanting to go and deciding that we're going to have another business model. So the business model ended up being that we're gonna set and host our own event with the help of strategic partners and other business services in the construction industry. So I had a partner that was helping me through the process, and we ended up starting our first business equality contracting event on May 4th of last year. So this is all very recent, right? So, and I'm not sure if I'm stretching myself so much. If I am, because I'm almost giving.
But I understand because with our communities, opportunities just don't lay themselves out for us, right? And if we don't understand how to go after them, and I know in our community, in the Black community, sometimes we have to give our businesses permission to fight for what is really theirs to fight for, right? That they deserve to have, and so they need an advocate. It's more than for, I think, in our businesses for, yeah, simple. You put your shingle out, call yourself a business person, and you go out there. But there's so many other things, that distractions and obstacles that we have to encounter that others don't, that sometimes it just becomes too extremely overwhelming, and you need your advocates, you need your rah-rah teams, those people that inspire you to go just a little bit further, that those opportunities out there, let me show you how to get them, because you see something in them that says, hey, you would be an incredible person in this space, but I understand that you may not have the confidence to do. And if you do, I'm going to pour into you what I know that you can create for yourself. That's kind of how I think it looks like for both of our people.
Yes, you're right on key on that, Crystal. Because in most cases, If African Americans have evolved, and I really personally admire how there's so many business owners that help each other. I mean, you're starting to see that more and more, and we're like, we still need to catch up with concepts. I'm a Mexican, and I have a team of the South America, from Colombia and other
Mm-hmm.
areas in that area that will be more cultural based, right? That will take in consideration how they sort of evolve to certain limitations. But we also have really good skills. I mean, in the 80% of the workforce in construction are Hispanics. So
Mm-hmm.
how come they don't try and get into their own business? And usually it's just because of fear, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear levels that you go, and sometimes they're true, and sometimes they're myths. But as you come into the United States as a Hispanic, you fear law. That's the first one you fear sometimes, because they sometimes they don't do it right. They don't come over here right,
Right.
or they let their visas expired, and they don't do their research. And that's where the self-esteem starts. It's like sometimes they don't inform themselves that they can do things right. We're so used to doing things the wrong way because we're in fear consistently.
Right.
It's incredible. So now, how do you shift that employee mindset that consistently doing labor to the entrepreneurial mindset, and still
Mm.
jump the barrier of language and technology, and so there's a big challenge that that I'm passionate about, and I'm trying to bring in more partners that align with that idea of trying to help these small businesses. And I'm doing we're trying to create awareness in the Hispanic community, and try to bring material that's in English, in Spanish, considering that um, uh, statistically it's proven that we capture and understand more of what certain responsibilities are, what work ethics and what processes we need to do if it's in our native tongue, right? So imagine a contractor or a business, a Hispanic business. They're driven, they're really good at what they do, but now they have to evaluate a package that's this thick in a language that's they're barely getting through. So
Yeah.
and that Latinos are like, emotional. We're candela, like we're in a rush, like we want an opportunity, we're gonna get it, right? So because of that, then we yeah, like we're very impulsive, and what do? We sign instead of evaluating the opportunity thoroughly to see if you can really
Mm.
execute. And that's where the problems come in. So what we're trying to do, I sort of jumped the gun because I didn't finish how we transitioned. We ended up doing our wing, a nonprofit wing, and all the net profits that MINOREA does, because now MINOREA offers outreach services. We're still in the idea, and the outreach services are specifically to be able to help engage into diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and helping the minority small business organizations, right, and companies. So the outreach services, and we consult to contract ready contractors, and
Mm.
in contract acquisition, business development training. That's what we do, and 25% of those proceeds will go to our nonprofit entity, which is called Business Equality Movements. And the nonprofit entity is built to identify opportunities, programs, and resources and events that will help businesses build capacity and build relationships. So we have different initiatives that we're starting to develop. We're a very recent nonprofit organization, and 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 this is why we're here. You know, we want to be able to let people know that this is what we're committed to, and we're trying to develop these programs where we're encouraging to educate. You know how sometimes we're saturated, especially in the construction industry, we're saturated with a lot of education. Sometimes we're too busy, we don't get
Mm-hmm.
it, but we do have how to, basics of boot camps or how to do business with, but there's
Right.
hardly any content in. Yeah, so what
Yeah.
we want to do is to eventually develop programs that are going to have Spanish literacy, and then encourage learning English, right? Include opportunities to be able to get them educated more and more on how to communicate in English, so they can have sort of stepping stool, and an evolution through their company and their capacity, because eventually they're gonna have to read it and understand it, right?
Right, because
Before
they're
they.
creating obstacles for themselves, and it's interesting. Gilbert, you can obviously jump in. Is it the problems and concerns for both the black and brown community is basically the same, right? With some nuances, right? We don't have to learn the English language, but we do need to learn the language of business, right? We we
Yeah.
we need to no longer work under the radar. We need to put everything in order and operate it, everything legally, because it offers more businesses. So we have some nuances that with the same exact problems, right? In
Yeah,
order,
we no longer need to work under the radar. We need to be the radar, so we can reach
Right.
out to these contract providers and say, "Hey, we know that this is a government funded project. It's a federal project. It's a Department of Transportation project. Therefore, there's supposed to be some DBE goals on this project. So, what are the goals on this project?" Because many small businesses don't ask those questions because they don't understand the dynamics of it. But since I understand the dynamics, because I've been on the inside, I put some of these policies and procedures together, these programs, terms and conditions. So I understand what's needed under those programs. So I'll ask those questions, and I want more and more of us to ask those types of questions. And part of the reason why I teamed up with Minoria, even though Andrea don't want to say that name as often as I want her to, because I want people to know
Memoria.
what Minoria is. Okay. So, so we know that our focus, our mission is to really bring awareness, alertness to our population, our small business population. So every opportunity we get, we want to educate them so they know what's out there. Oh, okay. So this project is funded by federal funds, Department of Transportation funds. Therefore, there's supposed to be DBE on this. Oh, this is funded by state funds. Oh, so there should be an SBE on this. All right. So this project also has at least a dollar, I mean, $1,000 of federal funding on there. So maybe we should have some labor compliance on it. So all of those things is education that we're bringing to our population, and we're going to keep doing this. And because of the fact that we've got the FIFA World Cup coming up, we've got the Olympics coming up, 2026 and 2028, respectively. We want to make sure we start preparing our small businesses to be business ready, contract ready, and funding ready. So when they venture out into these opportunities, they can obtain it. And that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah, and Crystal, you mentioned how relative or the challenges were between the Hispanic community and the African American,
mm-hmm.
and and I've been connecting with a lot of associations that help African Americans, because I really see that if we could join forces, there's that we can help each other get away from that, right? Get be able to overcome all those challenges, and to united we're more powerful. So I want to be able to help and assist in joining us, and sort of brand that. And we need to stick together, because
Well,
sometimes we relate.
well, and if we think about that, and I talk about that all the time. Gilbert knows that's something that I talk about is getting creating a one voice for Black people, so that we gain momentum. But then the next step, the next phase of that is once we're working together, then we need to partner up with the Latino community, so that we now are truly the majority. And
Yeah,
since we're the ones that reap the least benefits of everyone, then we can all gather together and then we create that one voice. Because in this country, if you can keep the two entities, the underserved, as they like to call us, separate, then you create those obstacles to make sure that intentionally that happens, then you feel you never have to worry about them. But we need to stop listening to the outside and realize how what the benefits are for us really to come together as a whole and work together. And especially in the Hispanic community, when you have a lot of the Afro-Cuban countries that speak Spanish, and there's a synergy already there. And so
yeah,
it's a no-brainer, right? If they're targeting you as the underserved, you're getting the least amount of benefits out there. Then let's come together, put our voices together, create that coalition and collaboration, and speak loud and be the squeaky wheel. Then things will change for us.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Now it's just how do we get us all together, right?
We only
We
need
know
this
the problem.
conversation is a good one. Yeah, it
Yeah.
starts with a thought, right?
Yes, it does. It does. It starts with thought, and since if you like to talk and I like to talk and Gilbert likes to talk, we
Oh,
just keep talking it until it all happens. That's
They'll
what
get
happens.
they'll get sick of listening to us. Oh, okay, let's shut them up. Let's give them a bone. Here you go.
And that, and so
little by little.
with right, with our community, every time I would go to a meeting and people would introduce myself, and I'd go, my utopia is that we all work together and we have one voice and we make a noise. And so finally, I have gotten a group of our CBOs to come together. We're starting to create a coalition so that we can have one voice, and then we're going to branch out. So,
That's
like I said, my utopia is that.
that's awesome.
That's
That's
that
awesome.
is
I love
great.
when
That is
there's
great.
so much synergy. I love it when there's so much synergy on mindedness, right? Like when
Hmm.
we have this goals and objectives. So there's so much we can cook up, right, together.
Right. Yes. 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 We get, because, like I said, we have some of the similar situations with some small nuances, but pretty much they're the same. Right. We need to educate. We need to support. We need to encourage. We need to make sure all of our stuff is in order. And the reason, like the Black and Brown had such a problem during in the early part of the pandemic, and we had to jump on it like immediately when I found out that about the CARES Act. I think the next day I had a workshop that was virtual on how to get your financials together. Here's software, doesn't cost you anything. Let's get your bank connected, bring in your transactions. Let's get a P&L, because that's what they're going to be asking for. And then if you haven't gotten your taxes done, get that P&L. Here's someone to go do your taxes. Let's get that done, because don't let that be the reason you can't get the PPP money. and do it
Right.
honestly. I mean, there was a number of people came to me. It's like, well, well, you may be able to do that, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to come back and bite you, and it's going to dig you into a hole. There are other ways to go about doing it without finding yourself with a problem that's even more. The magnitude of that one is even greater than where you are right now. So, just like you said, looking at things, reading the small print, understanding that maybe you don't want the microwave version. You want the I've done my due diligence version.
And
Right. Right.
I've been doing some studying and researching on the whole pandemic situation and the resolutions that the government brought into play. And I found that it wasn't well thought out. It was just a haphazard thing that they came up with last minute, no planning, no thought, because they figure, hey, if we throw this out there, then this will shut them up for a little bit. But they didn't think about the end result. They didn't think about the journey to those things. We all know that in entrepreneurship, when you talk about entrepreneurship, there has to be a journey, and that journey produces a story. And that story, if told properly, can help the entrepreneur to get to what they need to get, whether it's a contract, a grant, or funding. So they kind of mess up on the delivery for us, because even myself, I'm seeing some of these things and I'm challenging it right now. When the people who were affected by the pandemic, entrepreneurs, when we tried to get help, it was a scramble, because first of all, the SBA couldn't give the funding themselves to small businesses because they weren't a lending entity. The SBA only guarantees loans through banks, so they couldn't directly give the money to the participants, the people who were in trouble, whose business were closing because they couldn't keep their doors open in the pandemic, right? So they filter the money through the banks. And what do we know about banks? They're greedy pigs. So what they did, the banks, they wait until last minute to say, oh, by the way, we got some money here through the SBA. You got to apply for it now. Or if you wait until tomorrow, you won't get it. That's what, Crystal, that's what you were talking about earlier. And they make things so poorly and so messy for the entrepreneurs. So when the entrepreneurs go and apply for this, that's why people had a bad dash. They were applying for PPP, they were applying for idle, didn't know the difference between the two, didn't know what was required, didn't have all their documents in place because they didn't have a system like SmallBizPro to have all their documents structured. So they would just, they get these little scammers who get into the middle of it and say, hey, I can get you your PPP loan. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just come to us and we'll take care of this. Right? So now the scammers got in there and got these businesses involved. And now many of these businesses are either getting arrested now, or they're ending up paying, big loan bills that were supposed to be forgiven.
Right.
So
Well,
we
some
don't want.
did know. Some didn't know exactly what they were doing.
Well, some of them knew.
Yeah,
Some of them
they
knew.
realized, they thought it was a like, oh, okay, how are they gonna catch up with me kind of thing.
Yeah, but most of the
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, I must say they didn't know. They just see it as a lifeline where help they can help their employee or help their family.
Right. Exactly.
So these guys said, hey, we can help you. So they jumped on it. Now it's hurting a lot of our entrepreneurs. I mean, the pandemic alone, we see 440,000 black businesses close their doors and go out of business. That's just black businesses. We don't know the number for the Latinos yet. And I'm assuming that it's probably going to be around the same number, maybe half a million uh, Latino companies that has to close their doors. So think about it. At least 1 million minority businesses were impacted by this bogus pandemic, which we're now finding out that it wasn't really a pandemic. you know. So we got to prepare ourselves so this doesn't happen again. And that's why we keep going over, okay, get your business ready, get your back office set up, make sure you're certified. There's still $500 billion out there in in funding procurement opportunities for minorities, women, small business, disadvantaged business, and veteran-owned businesses. No one is talking about that because they don't know about it. But we know because we've been going through this, and on top of that, we got Small Biz Pro, which tells us those things. You see what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
it's just horrible.
And I think I know some of those from the black. I'm not too sure about the Hispanic business, but from the black businesses, a lot of them were working with very very small, if non-existent margins. Because I have found that my space, Andrea, is accounting and bookkeeping. That was how I first started my practice, and now what I do is I do forensics and troubleshooting. So once they get it set up, and I find out that they may be making gross maybe 80,000, maybe, but by the time they remove all and subtract all their expenses, they're bringing home like $24,000. Well,
Yeah,
$24,000 is poverty level,
yeah,
right? And
way
if
below
that
the
is
poverty
way
level.
below poverty level, so if you're running your businesses on that, and all you have is just enough to keep you eating, because
and
that's your profit,
and
right?
keep the lights
And
on.
keep the lights on.
And on top of
And
that, many of us entrepreneurs, we got kids, right? So they
right.
probably have two, three, four kids, that you
Yeah.
got to feed.
And so they're
Unbelievable.
all operating on these very very small margins. And but if it's a cash based business, then it can be disillusion, or it can be an illusion, right? Because if you got a cash business, you got money coming. It appears like you got money coming in all the time. Every day you got cash, so
Yeah,
you feel like you have money, but you really don't have enough money. It just feels like it because it's cash. And when you're operating like some of us do, where we have a receivables, well, that cash runs out probably sooner than the month runs out.
yeah,
And then you're waiting for that next check. So you're just like an employee. You're waiting for your next check to stay alive. But when you have a
Right.
cash business, you have money flowing in all the time. You think you got a lot, so you spend it as soon as it hits your hand.
yeah,
And so what happened in the pandemic, that cash dried up.
yeah.
So that's what I found from black. What about is that the same thing that took place in the Hispanic population or the
Oh
Latino
yes.
business?
Well, and Latino businesses' nature is they don't report taxes, and a lot of Latinos don't report taxes when they're startups or when they're illegal. So
Mm-hmm.
so just like you said, money flies and it flies right away. So they think they make some money, but it's just a poor administration of where it goes that has them living paycheck to paycheck. You're completely right.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Mm-hmm.
it removes the opportunity of entrepreneurship. Now you're just enslaved, and your bosses are multiple people, right? But now you don't have just a boss. And sometimes now you eliminated your abilities of having benefits and healthcare, and so there definitely you hit it right in the pinpoint when it comes to Latinos understanding that even though it looks like you're making money, and you're going to you're spending money because you think you're making money. As you spend it, you won't have for next month or you won't have for the
Right.
following
And
month.
it's not and it's right. It's not you're not putting any
So
away. You're
yeah,
just letting it you're
definitely.
just paying cash for everything. So it feels like you have money. But if you're not making some investments and have emergency funds and security blankets and things like that, and then don't let there be a medical crisis or something of that or natural disaster, you wiped out because you have no reserves. And that's I think, and that's why I say we operate pretty much the same.
Mhm.
So, for those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. And as you know, we're pretty flexible. We'll try to extend the program once we've got an amazing guest that has amazing information and they're not on the schedule crunch where they have to jump off. I see our field correspondents just joined us, Mr. Greg Sneed. Hey, Mr. Greg Sneed, how are you doing? He said, I still have checks, so I must have money.
Greg is
Hey,
a
are you talking about from the pandemic, Mr. Sneed?
As soon as that expires,
Uh,
it's hard to get them back.
the IRS has two of my checks and they haven't released it yet, so I want to know what's going on there.
well, you know how that is. So what's the next phase
Mm.
for your business? No blank checks.
For
And
Minorea. What's the
what is
next step for
what's the next
Minorea?
phase?
Oh,
Yes.
well, the next phase is the awareness and making sure that we partner up with the right sources. We get the right support to funnel these opportunities to small businesses, and really promote. The building the importance of building capacity the right way in order to scale up. We concentrate in the construction industry, and we're concentrating in helping the Hispanic businesses with just general infrastructure. For them to understand how to do things the right way. So that's in general, and we want to be able to educate in Spanish, and sort of help them get sort of a mind shift, because there's so many other elements that limit their possibilities of being able to see big and think big. So
Mm.
that's our journey, and we have a big commitment, and for that, I mean, we're still a small business. We're a team of 4 right now. We've
Mm.
gotten it shorter and shorter, because we've been restructuring as we go, and as we're restructuring, we're getting more and more partners instead of internal opportunities. So I
Awesome.
think
Awesome.
we're looking into growing, of course, and becoming, having that awareness globally.
Have you worked with the New Women's Business Center? They're out in the valley. Well, that particular branch is out in the valley. It's run by a woman named Ruth Garcia. She used to be the GM for La Plaza. Really amazing organization. Majority of their participants are Latina women, and they have several programs that they do for them. But they do some amazing series of programming, and you might want to reach out to them. It might be a good a partnership with you guys. You might do, because they're always they use consultants to do the training for them. But I was one of their consultants until recently. I just needed some free space for me, some time for me. So but I had been doing that contract for about 6 years, and so I taught a program called 12 Steps to Launching Your Business. And at the end of that contract, at the end of the course, which is really 6 weeks, myself and another young lady, they would give them a certificate, but then they take them to the next level. And they have a food program, they have construction, they're part of the SBA. Um,
Wow.
but one of the caveats when I first started to work with them, we would have on an average, my classes were sometimes 30 and 40 and 50 women and I taught two, 2 times a week, for 3 weeks straight.
Wow.
And then they
That's
would take my courses. They then took my course, and they translated into Spanish, and they actually go. It's a part of our large housing um, um, company, a nonprofit as well. They and they manage these large housing complexes in the valley, but in areas inland and outland, and then they would go and take the courses on the road to the people that couldn't get to
Wow.
them. And
Oh,
and
see that? So
yeah, so
that's outreach right there.
yeah, the outreach, right? So they took it to them. So they took my. So when I first went to the first culmination, and everybody was walking up. Crystal, it's so great to see you and meet you. I've listened to your. I've been listening to you for 2 years, and then one guy says, and I even took I took your stories, your classes, translated into Spanish, and I even told your stories. I said, well, that must have been interesting, being that you're a man and I'm a female. But it was very successful. So that might be, some synergy for you guys, for you to be
That would
involved,
be, yeah.
especially. I think that would be great
I would
because
love
they
to
have
connect with them.
a huge population. So if you like, I'd make that introduction to Ruth. I do know that they are in need right now. Unfortunately, I kind of dropped them. I mean, I kind of stepped back, but I just needed to have some time for myself. But they have a huge following, and they
Oh, that,
service everyone in the county. They even provide addition, the advice, the counseling for them. But when they reach out, they have people coming in from all over the country. And in some cases, I've had people in other countries actually tapped in or tuned in and signed in for the webinars as well.
So
wow, that would be great if I can get connected that way.
I
one of the
will I
things
will make the introduction, and then you guys can take it from there and see what can come of that.
What-
I'm gonna try to I'm gonna spill the bean a little bit, not too much on our partnership.
Yeah, I'm not sure to
Uh,
what
Bu-
level I should spill the beans, so I'll let you do that.
Buchanan and Associate and Minoria. So what we're doing, we're teaming up, and in order to help many of these small minority and disadvantaged businesses, what we're going to do is we're going to pool together our resources. And you see how many of these chambers bring people in and say, oh, be a member and you pay X amount a year, and we'll connect you with resources, but they don't. So we're really going to do those resources. We're not going to call ourselves a chamber or anything like that, because chambers, they kind of have a bad name. So we're going to be the team that we are, but provide those services to the small businesses. So they'll pay, I don't want to call it the membership fee. They'll pay like a subscription fee,
Mm-hmm.
which will include Small Biz Pro. They'll get Small Biz Pro,
Mm-hmm.
and that they'll have that to take care of their back office. We'll provide training on Small Biz Pro, and there's a component in Small Biz Pro that caters to marketing. That's where my wonderful co-host there, Andrea, comes in. She does the marketing piece. She's
Mm.
good at reaching out, doing outreach, and getting businesses involved in processes. I watched her explain to a group of small businesses a couple of days ago, and I said, "Man, this woman is good.
Mm.
She's good at what she does." So she reaches out, and of course, she's got. We're talking about leadership today. How leaders shape nations, communities, and organizations, and that's what she does. She's doing a great job of shaping those organizations and the Latino community. So we're looking forward to having her be the ambassador, where she goes in and
Mm.
show them how this team can bring that skill and expertise to them. Now, I know one leg of that, is the money part, the bookkeeping and accounting. So, we'll reach out to you, Crystal, and see if this is something you would like to do. I know you're kind of graduating from teaching classes right now. You just want to speak and do some other things. But if we
Oh,
see
I don't
where,
mind training. I don't mind
okay,
training. I just don't want to do the day-to-day operations.
okay. So if we see where we can bring you in and have you do some training, because they're going to need it. Many of them don't have they don't have QuickBooks, and they don't have the expertise to learn the QuickBooks. That's what you do. You are a damn genius when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You can close your eyes and teach that in your sleep. you
I
know?
can. Yeah, and one of the things I found though, they need to know how to do that anyway.
Yes.
Even though at some point they will farm it out,
Yeah.
but from my experiences,
Yeah.
if they don't know what is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
they hire someone that says, "Hey, I can do that for you." But
Right.
maybe they can't do that for you in that industry, right? Or
Exactly.
maybe they can't do that for the capacity of your business. And so
Right.
they make some really big mistakes.
Yes.
And then when that individual goes to apply for a loan
Or file
or
their taxes.
file their taxes, then they have a lot of problems. So what I found out is so much better to teach them first,
Yeah.
let them get a feel, and then they get the understanding. I had a client, he was so apprehensive um of this. He said the whole bookkeeping thing just makes me crazy. I just can't do this. I can't do this. And so I when he was referred to me, I said, yes, you can do this, because you got to look at it not as a task of bookkeeping, but you got to look at it as a tool that's helping you see how your money's coming in, how your money's going out, and now how you can better plan for it growth and expansion, because now you have what you need, right? So it is not just for taxes, is not just for a loan. It truly is for you. And so once I
Yeah.
did that, so yesterday we met with him, he went, "Oh my God, this is amazing." Because now he better understands the financial structure of his business. He
Yeah.
says, "I can wait. Can I do this for my personal too?" It's like, we're not using QuickBooks because it's too costly, but you can do this other. He says, and I can set up budgets so I can be better with money and I can understand my money. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what you. And so when he realized and connected it like that, as opposed to it's just a task, a dreadful task that all business owners have to do,
Yeah.
then he was embracing. Okay, I'll be back next. When do we schedule again? So now he's excited. So that's why I think for me, it's better if I teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
Then I can teach you what to look for when you hire someone to do it for you once you've mastered it yourself.
Yeah. I think that's what we'll do, co-host. We'll bring you in and have you train them. Maybe not in QuickBooks, because many of them may not need QuickBooks. But if we can do it in that other platform that's for free, what is it called?
Wave, which is no longer for
Wave.
free,
Oh,
is
it's
now
no longer
six.
for free. I
Yeah.
knew it.
They
I
always start
knew they
you
would
for
get us.
they always start you with that.
I
Yeah,
knew it.
they're not, but they still are cheaper than QuickBooks. They're $16 a month. But if you
Oh,
connect the
16 a
software,
month for the whole
yeah,
year?
or 16 a
Wow.
month, yeah. Whereas QuickBooks is like 100, and they're almost at
Yeah.
almost $100 now. They're
Wow.
$90 for the full program. But
Man.
yeah, Wave is $16 when you could sync it to your bank account. You still have to pay for payroll and stuff, but that's still, I mean, it's a business expense, right?
Right, right.
You have to, not everything can be free, but they went free for 20 years. So that's pretty good.
Wow, 3 years is a
Oh,
lot. Yeah.
so Greg Sneed said if you got it when it was free, then it stayed free.
Yeah, it stayed free. If you grandfathered it stayed free. But if you just coming on, and that was as of June 1st, it became non-free. Then yeah, but yeah, if you came
Man,
in it before.
how come you didn't tell me this, co-host? Then I could have jumped on that bandwagon before June 1st. Man, that's amazing though. But even for 16 a month, it's still less than QuickBooks. So So those are the kind of things we want to offer, Crystal.
Yeah.
Andrea and I, going out in these communities because we want to show value. We just don't want to be like these other, little chambers and other groups and trade associations that go to these small businesses. Hey, we can help you. We're your savior. And then we do the same thing that they do. No, we want
Right.
to do something different that they can see we're providing value to them. So, you, me, Andrea, and whoever else that we form, we team up with, we just want to show these types of value, man. And that's the mission that we have with this teaming approach, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Right. So Greg said. So Greg took my he backed me up. He said she brought it up on the show, and I think that's how I found out about it.
Hey, man, the brothers are supposed to stick together. What are you talking about, man? You're throwing me under the bus.
But no, businesses they have to learn how to manage their financials. That's the
Yeah.
next to marketing,
Yeah.
those are the two most important components. Yeah, it's great to have a big idea,
Yeah.
great to have a business, but if you don't know how to market it, and the marketing leads directly into the and manage the money, you need not to be in business.
That's right.
No,
Yeah, so
Crystal, and
Andrea-
if I may, I really like. So I was just gonna say, I really like that business model that you have, because where I've had situations where I work with businesses, Hispanic businesses, and I mean, Hispanics are powerful. I mean, they know how to work and they work hard, and they know how to make money. I mean, I've seen businesses generating millions, and they're not using yet all the proper tools. They don't have infrastructure. Can you imagine if they did?
That's true.
Right.
Where would they go? So what they do is word of mouth, like I mentioned. So if they feel comfortable with you, if you and you talk to them, they don't have that much time to get educated, so they delegate it to whoever feels like they're professionals. So sometimes they have to they learn from those experience after years of getting this assistance from a particular accountant that they feel connected because they know the language. But in a lot of cases, these accountants, I mean, you overlook some of the accountants, right? As you're growing, sometimes you have to learn how to really get into cultivating relationships with more CPAs and see what's going to favor you. So that really they really hit a plateau, and sometimes open up a can of worms because they didn't make time to get educated, right? To learn yourself before giving authority for something so valuable, something that's going to sustain your family and yourself. So it's that's the type of mind shift that we need. And I'm glad, Gilbert, you had that idea of Crystal, because finances is a big situation that is so resolvable, right? You just need to
simple. It can be resolved in 30 days. Right. But even before they hire employees, if they understand, and I think the most important part is to be able to, once you're managing that, to be able to understand your cash flow, understanding when your business makes the most money and how to capitalize that. And if you see a pattern, then you're like, you know what? I think in these 4 months, a quarter, I'm not doing enough marketing. Then that's when the marketing comes in, right? Because you have to go, it gives you the historical data. And the one thing numbers don't do is lie. They tell you the truth each and every time. And you go back and compare it to the previous years. I had a client, she was a new client, and I helped her get all her financials together, taught her how to do that so she could file her taxes. So she was able to file her taxes instead of doing an extension to October or whatever. She was finally able to do her taxes like in February. She was ecstatic, right? Even she filed it before April. She was just ecstatic. And so I said, so how did it go? Oh my God, it was so easy. It just handed them the P&L. Then she says, and I almost had to pay taxes. And I went, what does that mean? And she says, I almost made enough where I actually had to pay some taxes. I said, are you limiting how much you make? So you don't have to pay. That is not the purpose for being in business.
That is crazy.
but if you track it, then maybe you can have more deductions. But that we can't limit our potential for earning money so that we don't pay taxes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, at least she's getting educated. At least you're teaching her the way. So next year, hopefully, when she comes back, she can say, "Oh my God, I made over $100,000."
And I had to pay taxes, but I made
$100,000. That's amazing, man.
I'm like, okay, that's a different way to do business. We're doing business to keep from paying Uncle Sam. What the heck?
Greg said, I minimize taxable income as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, you find the appropriate deductions. But yeah, I just thought that it just stopped me in my tracks. I went, what you just say?
For those of you who are just tuning in, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30, and we bring amazing guests on. If you don't realize by now, we've got an amazing guest on. Her name is Miss Andrea Navarrete. She's been coaching me in how to roll my R's. So
roll your R's.
I got to make sure I got her name correctly,
Okay. Well, but no, I like that idea.
Yeah. So if you guys want to be on the show, make sure you reach out to us, Crystal or myself, and we can bring you on the show as a guest. And you can talk about your business. This is some free promotion you're getting. Now, just like the Wave software, there's a time limit on this freeness that we're giving you guys. So, you may have a few more months left where you can come in and talk about your business for free. And then after that, there might be a little stipend that you have to pay to be on the show, which will still be a good thing for you. You let people know about your product, your services, and the contributions that you bring to the community. And just so you know, we're not just a local podcast. We're a worldwide podcast. We're all over in different countries right now. We're in Venezuela, we're in Canada, South Africa, Germany. What's that other one, Crystal, that we got? Canada?
Yeah, we're in various places.
So we're all over the place. We're trying to get into Egypt, but my co-host will have to be the ambassador to go over there and connect it for us. So.
Well, they do business a whole lot different over there, but they're more
bartering. Do they barter?
They're bartering. There's a lot of bartering, a lot of street hustling. There's a lot of that. They do all kinds of jobs just to stay alive because the economy is not the best over there. Yeah. But so how well, when you out doing your outreach, are you being well received? Is it an educational process to it as well?
Yes. No, definitely. You have to be very strategic on doing a lot of outreach when it comes to Hispanic communities. We're family people, and and we're workaholics by nature. So we work and go to family. So what do we have left? A little bit of entertainment, and that's what we like. We like it, and that's where we spend our money. There's a lot of money spending in entertainment. So we've looked at we look for areas of how we can do that outreach, because we have to be very strategic in saying, oh, we want to educate you, because we don't want to sound like we're
to sell them something.
There's a deficiency. Yeah, we don't want to sound like there's a deficiency that they have. No, they're powerful. They're.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to. So the words like help, educate. Sometimes they're like, I I don't need anyone to tell me what I need to do in my industry,
Yeah.
right?
I've been in
You
this
know,
for
Ooh,
40
ooh,
years.
so
I don't
ooh.
need it.
So how do you finesse that?
yeah,
But
that's
you
part
know
of the
what's
case study. I mean,
go ahead,
oh,
Andre.
that's what I was gonna say. That was that we came to so many outcomes when it came to those case studies that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that delegation wasn't a problem, but if they didn't know something, and you got their trust, uh, they're willing to delegate. Decision making, which
Okay.
is so important, yes, they're good. They're really good,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the areas where we really feel like we need to help and come in and educate is being open for education, making time for that, making time for
Mm-hmm.
relationships, right? They're just interested in someone that's going to purchase their product or service, but now you have to make sure that if the other person does another entrepreneur does what you do, now it's competition
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying possible unity, right?
Uh,
Possibility of growing. So there's a certain amount of challenges that we've identified that now we sort of want to cook it up and saying what are the possible solutions that we can do, and what type of engagement can we do for these companies and businesses. And the nature of construction is very similar to a lot of the Hispanics, regardless of what their
yeah.
race is. Because
Mm-hmm.
usually sometimes when contractors start and they think of that particular idea is because, yeah, so in many cases they have a background,
Mm-hmm.
they grew up with limitations. They're well raised to saying that I know just how to work, and they
Mm-hmm.
fall short on the back office. That's why
Mm.
when I saw SmallBizPro, I got so excited with Gilbert. I mean, I couldn't read it because, okay, I understand. Small businesses can range, right? According to SBA, they can range significantly. I mean, you can still be
Yes, they can.
generating
They
20
can.
million, right? Yeah, and you're still a small business, but as you
Right.
grow, as you start making revenues, you start gaining a team, and sometimes you're getting all your paperwork and everything consolidated into maybe some major platform like Microsoft, doing the
Mm-hmm.
cloud or Google. But with Hispanics, sometimes we don't know any of that yet,
Mm.
right? But we need order. So
Mm.
Gilbert brings to the table that order that sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
And I make a lot of with accountants and bookkeepers, and one of their frustrations, the biggest frustration, is not having their paperwork. They don't collect, they don't know, and if and delegation, right? So whenever we would, for just an example, whenever we were offering those opportunities of helping them through the process of applying them for those grant programs, they didn't want to hear how the checklist that we needed. So they're like, talk to my accountant, or like even business licenses, bank statements. I mean, things that maybe you limit from your accountant, right? Or you're doing on your own. She's like, no, my
Right.
accountant has a solution. I mean, anything administrative. I remember I would try and explain, you need to have a filing system, you need to have this, and you need to have a cloud. And, oh, my accountant can do that. They put the accountant to do everything. And of course, that's a frustration for a lot of accountants, especially in that community or in male dominant industries, because
Mm-hmm.
they don't come, they don't. And then when they want to share, so they want to share it, there's paper involved. Sometimes you have to print out, and some account is like, you're asking me for so much paperwork, I need to charge for this. But it's because
Yeah.
they're not supposed to. I get it. The accountants are not supposed to be doing a lot of the administrative stuff that these businesses are asking for. So I tell
Mm-hmm.
them, you're right. Tell them. tell me what I need to tell them that you're going to charge, because that's a lot of work. I agree, but
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of an example of a solution Gilbert can present, because it's so easy to just share information and then limit
Yeah.
that share. So that's really
Right,
cool. I
exactly.
still give my that. Yeah.
No, Small Business Pro is excellent, and it should been embraced by everyone. And it's kind of he has to educate them, but again, it's because somebody else is doing it, right?
Yeah.
If they were doing it, they would see it, but because they're turning it, and I always tell somebody, it's like, you do know, a CPA is like an attorney. He's charging you every time he does something. So
Exactly.
he's not doing that for free. And if he's doing your bookkeeping, he's farming that out to someone. He's not doing
Yeah.
it. He's farming it out to someone, and he's paying you a surcharge to do that.
Right. Right.
Whereas some of that stuff is so small and minute, especially the way the accounting software is designed today. It's just connecting with your bank account, and you
Yeah.
just go in and put it in the proper places. And once you've been doing that for a little while, it starts to memorize. And as they improve their AI, it really will understand exactly how you're doing business if you're using the software on a regular basis. And then you don't have to pay your accountant, $2, $3, $4, $5,000, because he gonna get his money. Now you can just pay him for doing your taxes, or if you need a business valuation, and you don't need to do that, you can do that through Small Biz Pro. So there's so many things for the price that you pay for Small Biz Pro. You don't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to a CPA. You listen to Greg over there. He's like, he's enlightening us about small businesses. So $100 million is a small revenue for small businesses. Wave got much better with that, right? Greg, that was one of Greg's biggest things, that QuickBooks, that Wave was not being intuitive as he wanted it. Now they've gotten better, but it's because he's using it more often.
So he's calling them small biz amateurs.
Well, in some case, it is what it is. I mean, in some case they are, right, because if they if there's a talent in what they do, like if you're a baker and you like to bake, then that's what you really are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's something entirely different when you open up a bakery and now you're selling to the public, right? Because you got to maintain some compliance. And that's when they start to falter, because it's not like doing the craft. If you're a plumber, I can go do the plumbing skill. But now if I'm going to open up a plumbing business, now there's something different. They got to have marketing. You got to manage your finances. You got to invoice. You got to collect your receivables.
Yeah.
That's running a business. So they are small business amateurs if they're not doing that.
Exactly. And I think with us teaming together, man, this is going to be amazing, because Andrea, she has identified a loophole in the process, which I kind of thought about, but not as deeply as she did. And I'm going, man, this is good. I like the way she's looking at this, because she went to the CPAs and accountants and said, hey, you guys have a pain point here. Let's see if we can solve that pain for you.
No, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, and we had a meeting she kind of taught me something that I never knew. Well, I knew it, but I never practiced it. So we had a meeting a couple of days ago with a client, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she showed up with food for them. I never did that before. And I know in the Latino community, it's very important.
Yeah, food is a barrier breaker.
Yeah, like she said earlier, they like entertainment and partying, right? But I never thought about that before. And I go, dang, and what she did was so simple. It was so simple, man. People came together, they were eating, then they were listening. I don't know if subliminally they felt like they should have to listen because they're eating our food.
Probably. but here's
But see,
perfect.
I connect
It's a
the good
connect. It's a
experience
connect,
Yes,
right?
with the information. See, those are
exactly,
Right.
man.
examples of our different type of outreach
The cultures,
that
man,
we
the
have.
culture. So that was amazing how she did that, and she did it so effortlessly, And it's like me, I'm there, and going, damn, how come I didn't think about that?
I had a little girl. Well, one of my students today. She is wanting to create a a coffee shop, but she's going to first start with pop ups, and she's going to introduce different cultural desserts through. She's Guatemalan, and through Hispanic, Latin, and cultures from all the world for
Yeah.
to help people bridge that gap to be able to create a understanding of who the people are. Right. So when she came in to present today, she had an empanada that she brought. She had created, and it was in a cute little a tin container, and then you would put sugar on top of it. I guess that's the. I think she said it was the Guatemalan empanada with a little sugar on the top, and it was cheese. And then she gave that to the judges, and then she goes, "And would you like to have a drink with that?" She went into
Oh,
her bag. She took out a cup. She put in some ice. She had her own ice. She had the ice,
oh
and then she
man.
had the little drink, which is passion fruit drink, and she poured it. They
Oh,
were like, "Okay, I'm done." She's already won.
she has to win. She has to. See, and you see how simple that was? That's exactly what Andrea did, man. I'm going, man, I'm so proud of this woman. Look at her. She's just
Oh,
doing her
thank you.
thing.
Yeah, there you go. You
Yes,
got to
because
meet them where
I
they are,
just say
right,
that.
Andre?
Yeah, I go by the golden rule: do unto others what you want others to do to you. So it's like I
Yes.
like
Yes.
eating. I like eating, so let's see lunch and learn, right?
You must
So
like eating because I like it, right?
Yeah, man, that was amazing. So the other meetings we're gonna have, I can just see, you know, us doing a lot of those things to make the participants feel comfortable. Even if we do our workshops, we're doing the same thing, and that's why she's taking the lead on this. I mean, she's doing the outreach. We're gonna do training. We're gonna do a lot of on certifications. We're gonna do on back office,
Oh,
and
good.
and Crystal, we want to bring you in to do the
All
balance
righty.
sheet and the P&L, and tell them about taxes and all of that too.
All
So
right. Sounds good. Yeah,
yeah, and
that works.
if I may,
go-
Mm-hmm.
um, well, another area where we want to create awareness is well, we want to work with professionals, that can help these underserved communities and businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So we we're asking, to reach out to let us know, because we want to be able to create professionals that can help and really feel the way you, Crystal, and
Mm.
Gilbert feels, that they really want to help. They want to help. So part of our
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
goal is to get more and more professionals that are stepping that want to step up and help this way, to have some type of process where we can help them and see
yeah,
results. Sometimes it's hard as a consultant, a private consultant. You're a professional, you can help them, but you can help them in one area. And whatever you see this business like really falling in certain other areas, you really need to connect them
Yeah.
with a professional that to that area. So sometimes the ecosystem isn't very well taken care of, right? Like you
yeah,
Right.
have
Exactly.
these connections, they'll connect you process. So we want to be able to create that, and I think that the unity is also in professions. If you can, if if you, let's say you're in the construction industry, you definitely need to make sure that you start building relationship with professionals. Maybe if you're a small business, maybe you can't afford professionals or niched in the construction industry, but you can start hanging out with them, right? You can start talking to
Yeah.
them. Can start
Right.
private providing some value by connecting someone else, maybe your
yeah,
contractor that subcontracted you. So those are the ideas that we want to be able to share and help create. So that and of course the events to get a lot of the larger enterprises that need to fulfill their supplier diversity to come and support us, and be there for workshops, for opportunities to explain how their procurement processes or their forecast.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we want to sort of bring
That's
some
awesome.
ideas.
I love
And
what
we
you
already
guys are.
we partnered up with Mega Mix Expo. Have
You're
you
breaking up.
heard of
You're
that? I'm not
breaking
sure.
up, Andre.
Yeah,
Andre, you're
her.
breaking up. Can
Okay.
you hear us?
A little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and speak about that mega mixer expo again, because I think that's good information for the audience to hear, and tell them when it is.
The Mega
Now,
Mixer.
because I was
Yeah,
setting up.
yeah,
Yes, we
yeah,
can.
yeah. I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead, Andre.
Okay. Well, where I was that Mega Mix Expo, we've united forces, and now there's a contractors corner, which is a hub where we want to create opportunity for contractors that are walking in this area to be able to get all the niche professionals together, right? The
Hmm.
cost accountants, the lawyers that are in contracting law, the safety compliance consultants, and we also want to invite the big corporations, contractors like Swinnerton, Skanska, those big contractors to come and share all the opportunities that are out there. And then of course government and quasi government like Metropolitan Water. We're officially yearly partners of Caltrans, and we also have webinars where the second week of I think it's in the 11th. Gilbert is going to be our host on
Awesome.
so there's going to be a lot of opportunity to be able to share his information and what he does. So we're excited to let people know of all of this, because you really do need a big tribe to change the outcome that we consistently see of businesses going out of business.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. No, awesome, awesome. Well, however I can be of assistance, guys. Once I get past biz camp.
Yeah, we definitely want to bring you in, co-host. You definitely got to be a part of this, and for several reasons. One, I know you, I trust you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
work with people I don't trust and I don't like. So you are definitely somebody who I like and trust, and you know your stuff inside out. So we want people like you to help provide awareness to our small business population there that we've been doing from time to time. So the Mega Mix, it's on August 7th, correct,
7th and
Andrea?
8th, yes, it's a 2 year, it's the 2 year 2 day event.
two
Also,
years,
like
huh?
you extended the 2 year, right?
Yeah. So I'm
But
putting it
They
in the
will be,
chat right now.
as Greg would say, they will be small biz pros by that
I know. We would need to figure out a way of sustaining them in those 2 years.
time. Right, exactly. A challenge.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and then
no, that's pretty awesome.
we also
Let's
are
Gilbert.
happy to. Yeah, see, we need to take the mute off. Or put in the mute button. But
Yeah.
we also we're gonna have, just like last year, we're excited that we are gonna be a host of business equality contracting,
Hmm.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's gonna be on October 6th. And I'll make sure to share all of this information so you guys can share it with your audience. And we're excited. That's going to be in Santa Ana. Last year it was more in the area where the Compton area, Los Angeles
Okay,
area.
commerce area.
So
Now
now we're
where's I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say now we're taking it to Santa Ana because we know there's a lot of it's an underserved area,
Yeah,
and there's a lot
exactly.
of to that to let them know
Where
of this
Awesome.
of what we
where's
have
the
to
mega
have.
mixer? Where's the mega mixer going to be held? With where?
That's gonna be another area that's considered very underserved. It's in the Inland Empire area. It's gonna be in Ontario.
Oh,
Oh.
So I'm just happy that we're spreading ourselves. It's the Ontario Convention Center that we're gonna have that, and they're projecting around 7,000 people circling the area. I mean, there's a lot of for businesses like even those anything that's a resource, a connection, a good connection. If the general contractors need subcontractors, that would be a great area. Rental of equipment, that would be a good area for contractors to know who to reach out to whenever they need to rent and get some type of equipment and tools for their projects. And then we're also going to have workshops where two workshops. We want to make sure that we have a panel discussion, the do's and don'ts. That as you grow a
Mm.
contract,
Mm-hmm.
we have what's beautiful is that as a contractor grows in the Hispanic community, they've faced all those challenges and all those loopholes. So or not those loopholes, so all those challenges, and they've learned how to overcome it. Yeah, and
Okay.
once they get to a level to understand, now they sort of like matured and understood. Hey, I want to give back, and there we have a lot of
Oh, that's
contractors
good.
that are acting very positive and want, wanting to mentor, and that's what we want to bring to the table. Those areas where you can get grabbed by the hand by someone, and then you can help them,
And then
right? If
pull them
you're
back
really
up.
good at a
Right.
certain, yeah.
Yeah, so that's so very important is to go back down and pull back up, especially for our young
Right.
people, helping them be able to
Mhm.
sustain solid careers or businesses that can take care of their family. That's basically how we create generational wealth is being able
Right.
to take back, to give back. So awesome, awesome. Well, we're gonna have to bring our show to an end. We could be doing this forever. We definitely want to. I look forward to meeting you in person, and however I can be of assistance. Gilbert definitely knows how to reach me. But kudos to you for bringing unity in your community. Basically, that's what I do in mine. It's
Mhm.
just it's so rewarding to be able to help others become successful. And I always say when you leave this planet, you want to make sure you left an impact,
Yeah.
and with a population of people that are really deserving of that. So kudos to you, and
Thank
congratulations on what you're doing. And because I'm also in this space, I know in the beginning educating. Some people can be quite challenging, but when you reach that one, you would have thought you reached 1,000.
No, I know. I completely agree. You know, just by fun. Sometimes when I tell what did you get? What's the biggest thing that you got out of your case study, an outcome? Like what happens? What is it that you got out? I was like, well, true success or not true success, but the outcome I found is that the owners are the problem out of their business, right? Like, if we can change the owner, I almost felt like, can I change you? Then the team is gonna get engaged and everything. The owners are the problem. So,
They
but it
are.
doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that I mean they have goals and they want to grow. So as you get to know them, sometimes it's because life they're not ready because life is not ready for them right now. Like there's a lot of personal problems that might be going
Mm-hmm.
on. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that that maybe they have that want and that urge of wanting to scale, but something just pulls them back. Sometimes it's on
Mm-hmm.
yourself. right? Your mind holds you back.
Yeah.
So in this situation, we want to make sure that we understand their process and their system, evolution, and be
Right.
just aware. We don't have to help you right now if you can't afford us, or if you can't help us, or you don't have the time. That's great, but here we're in front of you, and when you're ready, you can go to one of these events, you can go to one of these trainings, and we want to help you. So it's not that they are the problem, but they also are the solution, the owner, right? So
Yes,
it's how
exactly.
you want. Yeah, so that's what we want to be like. Okay, we're not going to pressure you to do anything, because you don't have to, but we want to be there whenever you're ready, and then that's why the
Exactly.
events came about. Yeah, so the events still educate them, still understand, they still understand, but if they're too busy, they're not ready, there are going to be people in that event that are ready, and now we can bring them to help build that capacity for them.
Yeah, and I think we can close it with what is there's a quote from Mahatma Gandhi that says, the teacher will be available when you're ready. They will appear when you're ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
very true, very
that's
true.
that's a good and simple phrase. I've put your contact information, or the announcement about your event in the chat.
Thank you.
It's gonna be on August 7th, 2024, and August 8th, 2024. Come and join Andrea Navarrete in the Contractors Corner at the Ontario Convention Center. Did I do well with that?
You did great. You did great. But actually, in my voicemails, I get teased with a lot of Hispanics that know how to roll their R's. I say, "You have reached Andrea Navarrete," and one of my one of my brother-in-laws, he's like, "Yeah, that last name really fits you, and Andrea Never Ready." That was when I was a teenager. Okay, just to let you know. Yeah, but
See,
Navarrete, that's why it's so important to roll the R's, because then they're gonna understand.
Because she
Oh,
got
wow, never ready.
basically somebody told her she didn't know how to roll her R's for her own last name.
see, you shouldn't have told me that, because now it's gonna be stuck in my head and never ready.
Somebody was getting ready to take her Mexican
Card.
card away, like the black card. They were getting ready to take her Mexican heritage card away because she couldn't roll her R's, so she had to learn. All right,
Uh,
All right.
everyone, it's been awesome. I need to unwind for my full on day. It's been awesome to meet you, Andrea, and I'm looking forward to meet you in person and working together with you. You're amazing. From one woman
Thank
to another.
Yeah, you know.
I salute you.
Thank
well, folks,
you.
this has been the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and of course, we're on every Friday. Our very special guest today was no other than Miss Andrea Everready.
Navarrete. There you go.
So she's always ready, guys. So don't think she
It's
isn't.
always
Her name is Navarrete. Navarrete. Okay. So don't forget that, guys. And you too can be a guest on the Business Zone. Just make sure you contact us, Crystal or Gilbert, the Business Zone at crystalandgilbert.com. And you will be able to become a guest, talk about your product, your services, and, showcase what you do, just like Andrea just did, and become a star. I want to say this before I signed out, Crystal. While we were on the air, you heard my phone rang.
Mhm.
That was Andrea Vigil from
Oh,
Vegas. So she was getting ready to introduce her team to us, but we were on the air, so we'll probably have to do it another time.
all right. Well, we actually need her get her all the authors that co-wrote that book to come on to the show. So
Yes,
work on that, Gilbert. Let's get them on the show.
I'll
But we
definitely get them on the show.
thank you. So
So,
subscribe to our YouTube channel, everyone. Go over to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert's YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button to become a subscriber. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will actually increase our numbers so that we can monetize the show and continue on bringing these amazing guests on that can share with you what they've been doing as well. July 7th, we will be celebrating our 8 years on air. So
anniversary.
So going over to hit our subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. And with that, we're going to sign off because I need to go rest
And
from my children.
We'll play our outro, folks, so you can hear the wonderful verbiage that we emanate over here on the Business Zone.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
That's what we're talking